Dear brothers, good morning, fellas. Happy to chat with you guys again this morning. Have a little conversation. Hopefully, you guys are having a blessed week. Halfway through it at this point. I know that I had a big reminder last night of kind of my overall goals for myself and for my family, for that matter. Talking with our financial advisor and just laying out the path to the future as kiddos come hopefully into the equation here soon. And it was just a good kind of reset on why hard work must be pursued every day, why consistent work must be pursued every day, and having a purpose in that endeavor makes it a hell of a lot easier to get up and get after it. So I encourage you all today to, take a moment to really think about like, hey, what am I trying to get done? What are my goals? What are the things that are going to benefit my family? What gifts can I give to the world? And just make sure those are kind of front and center in your life. Put them on your wall. I know on my desk, I've got some notes about things that are important in my life. And maybe I'll do a show soon about a couple of those things. But I actually want to dive into a little bit of a story today that I heard, historical lesson, if you will. So most of you have probably never heard of the Major General John Rawlins from the Civil War. He was a Union general that worked below Ulysses S. Grant. And one of the things that apparently is less well known is that Grant had a prolific love for alcohol. And it was somewhat of a problem, or became somewhat of a problem. And one of the things that Rawlins was kind of tasked with was understanding this weakness that Grant had for liquor and being there to help him stop those moments and to support him and ensure that he succeeded. And I think what's interesting about that is Rawlins is almost completely unknown to the world. Ulysses S. Grant, on the other hand, is known by everybody. He's the Union general that his strategy, his plans, his leadership led to that victory in the Civil War. However, when you think of somebody like John Rawlins, who in his absence, there might have been a different outcome. Grant, in his stress, which was undoubtedly high, or in his difficulty, may have turned to a vice that could have changed or altered his perception, his ability to make good decisions. And that could literally turn the tide of any war. Yet, because he had a friend, someone he trusted, who kept his vices at bay, encouraged him that this wasn't the way, that this is going to prohibit us from doing what needs to be done, Grant was able to succeed. And as I was reading the story and kind of thinking about it, a couple of things came to mind. Let's get into a little bit of friendship today. The first thing is this. You must have friends who are able to do that for you. I know that I have friends now that I am so blessed to have, that if I have a problem, I have a vice in my life, I know that I can count on them to be there, to encourage me, to pray for me, to keep me on the straight and narrow as my brothers, and vice versa for that matter. I know that if I am on some kind of bullshit, my buddies are going to show up. Hey, what are you doing? What is this? This isn't how we act. This isn't how we do things. This is not how this brotherhood commences its business. I probably talk on here far too often about the Spartans, but I think about that concept of manly friendship often, where the guy to my left is my protector. His shield protects me, and my shield the next. And when we falter, that brotherhood takes a shot, and it requires the man next to you and everyone around you to go, hey, what are you doing? This is below the man that you need to be in this brotherhood. And so you need to ensure that the men in your life are able to give you hard advice, difficult advice, no different than Rollins talking to Grant about drinking. Imagine being the guy who was tasked with telling essentially one of the most powerful, most important, prominent figures in the Civil War time that, hey man, why don't you stop drinking? The humility that takes from Grant, certainly, but the courage that it takes from Rollins is most men today don't possess that in any capacity. However, we must. In order to grow, this isn't an individual sport where I make myself as great as I can at the expense of everybody else, all the other men around me failing. It's not. That ship is going to sink fast, and it has sunk. We've watched it over the last 30, 40, 50 years. We've watched men tank in every capacity. And a part of that is because we stopped bringing our brothers up with us, calling out when they were screwing up, telling them, hey, this is below you. This is below the men that the world need. Stop. We got away from that. We got afraid of hurting people's feelings and telling boys that they're screwing up. You can't do that, especially as adults. Your male friends, you as a father, as a brother, you must call out when those around you are screwing up. That, gentlemen, is called love. It's not vitriol, or it shouldn't be done in vitriol. It's not mean. It's not rude. There are ways to do it that are gentle yet stern. But in the event that you are avoiding telling someone you love that they are screwing up, that's not love. That's avoidance. That's fear. You can't allow that. So the first thing that all of you should walk away with today, this includes myself, is that for those of you who have friends or you yourself are struggling with something, reach out to those you love, reach out to your brothers and say, hey, I need help with this. I'm struggling. I need someone to hold me accountable. This is going to screw up my ability to succeed, and I can't allow it to happen. And that doesn't even necessarily mean it has to be a vice. It could just be procrastination. Maybe you're trying to write something. I know that recently, I've got a very good friend of mine who's writing a book, and he was kind of anxious to start it. And one of the things that I've kind of deemed as one of my jobs is just to ensure that he keeps doing it. Did you write this week? Are you writing? And the beauty is that he sends me his book every time he completes a chapter. And guess what? He's been religious. It's becoming this beautiful novel right in front of us. And it's not because that he wasn't capable of writing or anything. It's just that he asked his brother to help. And so what does a brother do? They help. They're there. They're like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Are we making progress? How's it look? And I've tried to do that with many men. I've had men do that with me. And I'm not great at it. I'll never be amazing at it, but I try to do my best. Every day I try to improve that. And so be that for your brothers. Be the man that can support them. And if you are struggling with something, find your boys and make sure they put you in check. If you don't have that, it's time for us to make some hard conversations or have some hard conversations about who your friends are. Second, and this is just as important as the earlier, you must be noble and humble when friends have higher successes than you. You cannot allow a friend, especially a good friend, whose successes are greater than yours, to cloud and darken your soul. Oftentimes, we as men get into this mindset that we have to be better than all the other men around us or we're not worthy. I would argue so vehemently against that, because your fame is irrelevant, specifically in the eyes of God. Your humility, your honor, your duty to those around you, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter if you're like Grant, who was he was the guy. His statues are bigger than everybody else's. He was well known. But the Rollinses of the world, who are less well known, less important, maybe their names are written here or there, but people really don't know them. That's the kind of man all of us should be aspiring to be. Not that they don't work hard, not that they don't strive for excellence, not that they don't live out their purpose, not that they don't seek to honor God with their works. But recognition is not a part of that system, nor is envy of others who are doing well. I cannot overstate that because I have, in my own life, had good friends who have become wildly successful. Fiscally more, they just have all of the stuff. And in my heart, I've had moments of, man, I'm envious, I'm jealous. And guess what? That's normal. It's normal for us to have those mortal feelings of jealousy and envy. It's part of life. But I can't allow that envy or that jealousy to cloud my love for the person. What it should be doing is when I feel that envy, go, hey, where's that coming from? That's not what friends do. What I should be doing is saying, dude, I'm so happy for you. I'm so glad that you are being blessed. I pray that you use that to benefit other people. I'm going to go back to my work now, because I have to get back to my stuff. I have to be continuing to embolden people. You may be the reason that someone has an incredible success. Your encouragement may be the reason that someone puts out a book or somebody starts a business or whatever it ends up being. You may be the person that spurned that. And what you should recognize is that humility is the next thing you need to take on there, because if they succeed, it's not because of you. You aren't the single factor. You did what your job is as a brother, and you supported others who had goals. Just like if the shoe was on the other foot and you were the one who succeeded, you would have to know, man, if I didn't have my brothers, I wouldn't have succeeded. I need to now do that for the next man and the next man and the next man. So understand, fellas, that the successes that our brothers have, we should revel in. We should support, uphold, be there, clap them on the back. That's my boy. That's what I'm talking about. That's what men do. If they have more money, that's great. It doesn't mean anything. As long as you have the means to care for your family, which is a must, obviously. You must work hard. Money is a part of that. There's no question about it. But if you can take care of your family, you can pay your bills, you can keep the debt collectors away. It doesn't matter what your brothers have around you. What matters is that you are supporting them, because when you support them, it lifts all of us up. The support you give to a brother may be what changes the world in some capacity. They come up with an invention. They invest in other people. The teachings that you give them, they're able to give to other people, and it brings them closer to God. I don't know what all of that looks like. I don't have that whole master plan laid out. But what I do know is that your character as a man, your duty as a man, requests of you to support the successes of your brothers. And in doing that, that brings forth the ripple of more successes for more brothers and more men all over the world. I don't know what could be more faithful and beautiful than that. And so recognize that today, fellas. This morning, I'll go back to my first point. Make sure that if you struggle with something, your brothers know. Make sure if you're seeing a brother struggle, you reach out. That's your job. Your job is to uplift them, to instill confidence in them, to ensure that they know they are worthy of what they are trying to accomplish. That shouldn't be thwarted. If you don't have friends like that, it's something that we should discuss. We should find them. Find a local church body. Find some local rec sports leagues. Find a local book club. There's hundreds of ways that you can interact with men. The internet has made that super easy. Secondly, revel in the successes of your brothers. Support them, love them. If envy or jealousy enters your heart, which inevitably it will, realize that that is not divine. That is of the enemy. That is not helping you. It's not allowing you to succeed. Envy and jealousy do not breed anything good. Something that I want to point out there briefly, that doesn't mean that competition is wrong. That doesn't mean you shouldn't compete with your friends. They did really well this month. I want to do well. But you should be doing that because it's the right thing to do to work hard and to succeed in this life. It's the right thing to do to honor the gifts that you have. But when it becomes this jealous back and forth where your envy overcomes your love for the person, for the man, you're ruining a relationship, one that tends to not get fixed very easily. It is okay to compete, but you should love the successes of your brothers. I'm going to leave it at that today, boys. I love you all. God bless. Be strong. I'm going to continue to work on building this brotherhood of men. However many of you are listening to this right now, I know that one of the things I'll be doing soon is creating some group stuff where we can all interact as brothers and men. And so I just think it's vital that we do that, because the world will be a better place when we do. I love you all. God bless. Be strong. Let's get after it today. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you, boys.